Somewhere off the coast of the Cayman Islands, a man is running a billion-dollar empire from a boat. No tenants calling at midnight, no leaking pipes, no property tax, no contractors to manage. His real estate portfolio spans 500,000 properties, and he has never stood inside a single one. Because his properties don't have walls, they don't have floors. They exist as sequences of letters, followed by a dot, followed by 3 more letters. Domain names. The internet has an address system. And just like Manhattan in 1920 or Miami Beach in 1980, the people who bought early, quietly, relentlessly, when everyone else was laughing, are now sitting on fortunes that most real estate moguls can't touch. Today we go inside the world of digital real estate. The domain names, the parking strategies, the $30 million single sales, the men who saw the internet as a map of unclaimed land and spent decades buying every corner they could afford. 5 investors, 1 industry that changed everything. And number 1, remember the boat. Wait until you see how deep this goes. This is gentle status. We are tracking the money. Number 5, Mike Mann, the human robot. Washington, D.C., 1968. A boy is born into a family that owns a farm in rural Virginia. He is not born into money. He is not born into connections. He goes to high school in Winchester. He studies mathematics at the University of Virginia. He is methodical, fast, and relentless, traits that will later earn him a nickname that sounds less like a compliment and more like a warning: the human robot. In 1998, Mike Mann is running an ISP, an internet service provider, called Internet Interstate. Unremarkable, unforgettable. Then one afternoon, an email arrives. Someone wants to buy a domain he owns. The domain is menus.com. The offer, $25,000. He says nothing, waits 1 day. The next morning, a second offer comes in. $50,000 for the same domain. Mike Mann does not sell menus.com that week. He does something far more important. He realizes what he is sitting on. Not a domain, a model. A scalable, repeatable, systematizable model. Buy domains that have commercial potential. Register them before anyone else figures out their value. Then wait. He builds buydomains.com from that insight. Not as a hobby, as a machine. He registers hundreds of domains per day, a pace so mechanical, so relentless, that the industry will later call him the human robot. He builds a portfolio. He builds infrastructure. He builds a team. In 2005, a Mike Mann sells buydomains.com to Boston-based Highland Capital Partners for $80 million. His personal take, approximately $25 million. He is in his mid-30s. He is rich. What does he do next? He gives away $6 million to charity. Immediately, before investing, before celebrating. $6 million to grassroots.org and changetheworld.org. Organizations he runs alongside his business empire. Then he invests the rest in real estate, in businesses, in domains, and loses significant portions in divorce settlements. By the time a Washington Post journalist sits across from him and asks about his net worth, Mike Mann says something that stops the room. I am $2 million in debt, which is ridiculous for somebody who has earned as much as me. Ridiculous and completely deliberate. Because Mann is not hoarding wealth, he is cycling it. And every dollar that comes in from domain sales at domainmarket.com, where 350,000 premium domains sit waiting for buyers, goes back into the machine. His biggest individual deal. In November 2010, he buys sex.com for $11 million, sells it for $13 million. At the time, it enters the Guinness Book of World Records as the most ever paid for a domain name. He founds SEO.com, Phone.com, AccurateAppraisals.com, 3 of which land on the Inc. 500 list of fastest growing companies in America in 2012. Simultaneously, Mike Mann doesn't sleep on the idea of wealth. He sleeps on the idea of momentum. The man has earned tens of millions. He is still building, still registering, still selling. Every day, a farm boy from Virginia who turned the internet's address book into an empire, 1 domain at a time. Number 4, Rick Schwartz. The domain king. Before we get to number 4, remember this. He once bought a domain for $100. That domain sits in a portfolio he now values at over $500 million. We'll come back to that number. In 1995, Rick Schwartz is not a tech entrepreneur. He is not a visionary. He is a community college dropout who has already filed for bankruptcy once and spent years selling Asian-made products at trade shows across America. He is a salesman, a hustler, a man who knows how to read a room and find an angle. One day, he hears about domain names. He spends $100 to register lipservice.com. He makes money. Not a lot, but enough. So he goes back. He spends $42,000, nearly everything, to acquire porno.com. 1995. The internet is in its infancy. Most people don't own a computer. Most people don't know what a domain name is. And this man, this trade show hustler from the Northeast, quietly builds a parking operation that will generate over $15 million in revenue from a single domain, without ever producing a single piece of content. This is the genius of Rick Schwartz's model. He doesn't build websites, he doesn't hire writers, he doesn't create products. He parks domain names, points them to advertising pages, and collects a fee every time someone types that URL directly into their browser bar. Type in traffic, direct navigation, the internet equivalent of owning the corner lot that everyone drives past on the way to work. By 2003, he sells men.com for $1.32 million, making international news. He co-founds the TRAFFIC conference, the first major trade show built specifically for domain investors. He is named Domainer of the Year. Then again. His portfolio grows. Candy.com, Queen.com, Properties.com, a domain for which he receives $1 million offers and calls them laughable. Property.com, purchased for $750,000. Dick.com, purchased for $200. That is not a typo. $200. His 7,000 domain portfolio, by his own conservative estimate, exceeds $500 million in value. Properties.com alone receives approximately 50,000 direct type-in visits per month from people who will never find that domain through Google. Rick Schwartz does not chase, he waits. You don't chase yesterday, he has written. You set up shop on tomorrow and have them pour you a drink. The bankruptcy, the trade shows, the $100 first domain. He turned every failure into a calibration, and the calibrations made him one of the most powerful men in an industry most people still don't know exists. Arn, a dropout who never went back to school, but understood the internet before the internet understood itself. Number 3, Mike Berkens, the quiet millionaire. Most people on this list are loud. Mike Berkens is not. He spent years as a Wall Street attorney, suits, briefs, depositions, billable hours. The kind of career that looks like success from the outside and feels like a cage from the inside. He was good at it. He was also watching. In the year 2000, as the dot-com bubble burst and everyone else was fleeing the internet, Mike Berkens walked toward it. He began buying domain names the way a lawyer reads contracts, methodically, carefully, looking for language that others miss. Not flashy single-word generics. Category domains, industry-specific terms with natural buyer demand built in. Names that a business would need, and not names that a speculator would want. His portfolio grew quietly. MostWantedDomains.com became his brokerage platform. He documented the market. He tracked sales. He became a trusted voice in an industry full of noise. But the deal that defines his story happened at a conference, a domain investing conference, TRAFFIC, Rick Schwartz's event. Berkens, Schwartz, and a third investor, Amar Kubba, pool resources and acquire a portfolio of .me domains. Date.me, love.me, marry.me, and meet.me. In November 2011, MostWantedDomains.com brokers the sale of meet.me for $450,000. A record for the .me extension. At the time of sale, the buyer had not yet fully developed the platform. Remember that $450,000. It becomes, in the years that follow, the standard by which the entire .me namespace is priced. One deal, one conference acquisition, and one moment of conviction. Mike Berkens is the proof that you do not need to be the loudest voice in the room to accumulate serious domain wealth. You need to be the most patient and the most precise. The attorney who left Wall Street to read the internet and got paid accordingly. Number 2, Millionaire, the ghost. There are names in this industry that everyone knows. And then there is Millionaire. He does not have a blog. He does not attend conferences. He does not give interviews. There is no verified photograph of him that circulates widely in the domain investing community. He is, by every measure, a ghost. And yet, in industry polls, voted by professional domain investors, he has placed in the top 3 of greatest domain investor of all time, competing against Rick Schwartz, against Frank Schilling, and against men who have built public empires. Millionaire built his empire in the dark. A Chinese national, reportedly assembled a portfolio of more than 100,000 premium.com domains, many of them short, 2- and 3-letter combinations, the rarest and most valuable in the market. His operation, conducted in near-total secrecy, accumulated digital real estate at a scale that stunned even industry veterans when the scope began to surface. The model is pure holding. No parking pages, no brokerage, no conferences. Buy and hold at a scale no one can see until the offers become impossible to ignore. His estimated portfolio value runs into the hundreds of millions of dollars. Possibly more. Nobody outside his immediate circle knows the exact figure. And that opacity, that deliberate architectural invisibility, may itself be the strategy. And you cannot compete with what you cannot see. In an industry of personalities, Millionaire is the absence of one. And the absence has made him extraordinarily rich. The ghost who owns more of the internet than anyone in your contact list. Number 1, Frank Schilling, the Ghost Billionaire. A boat, off the coast of the Cayman Islands, servers running, domains parking, revenue accumulating, 0 corporate tax. Frank Schilling is not a household name. He is not on the cover of Forbes. He did not ring a bell at the New York Stock Exchange. He was born in Tübingen, Germany in 1969. He grew up in Canada. He dropped out of university. He moved to the Cayman Islands around 2003 to work in offshore finance, and then, almost by accident, discovered domain names. I bought one name, he has said, then 2, then 10, then 100, then 1,000, then 500,000. Frank Schilling did not have a blueprint. He had a compounding instinct. Every dollar of revenue from his parked domain portfolio, the type-in traffic, the advertising clicks, the passive income flowing 24 hours a day from names like beer.com, diamond.com, creditcards.com, went directly back into buying more domains. He reinvested obsessively. He moved to the Cayman Islands not just for the lifestyle, but for the structure, operating his servers on boats in international waters to minimize the corporate tax burden on his growing empire. In 2002, he founds Name Administration Inc. By 2014, he launches Uniregistry, a full domain registrar and aftermarket platform. By the time GoDaddy comes calling, Schilling's operation manages more than 5 million domain names and has become the fastest growing domain registrar across new GTLDs in the world. On February 11, 2020, GoDaddy announces it has acquired the assets of Name Administration Inc., the Uniregistry registrar, and its secondary marketplace. The domain portfolio alone is valued at approximately $88.5 million. The total deal, $197 million. But he is not done. In 2021, Schilling auctions off 23 top-level domain extensions, entire internet namespaces, including .lol, .home, and others, through a single-day auction. Gross proceeds, over $40 million. 2 exits, 1 decade, $237 million in liquidity events, not counting decades of parking revenue, not counting angel investments in Triller, in Zoomprop, and not counting the $17 million home on 7 Mile Beach. His estimated net worth, $500 million. He now opens restaurants in the Cayman Islands. He commissions £17,000 steel dinosaur sculptures as art. He appears in a Hulu documentary. He builds a man-made harbor called Port Zeus. the man who ran servers on boats in international waters to build an invisible empire, is now building visible ones. $500 million. Built from domain names, built from nothing, built from a compounding instinct that started with one name, then two, then 10. The Ghost Billionaire. The man who owned 500,000 pieces of digital land, and you never heard his name until today. These 5 men didn't invent the internet. They didn't build the apps, the platforms, the search engines. They did something simpler, and in some ways smarter. They recognized that every building needs an address, and they bought the addresses before anyone understood what addresses were worth. In the 21st century, the most valuable real estate on the planet is not in Manhattan. It is not in Hong Kong. It is not in Dubai. It ends in .com. What we didn't show you today, the fortunes that were almost made, the domain investors who came within one deal of the top of this list and then lost everything in a single bad bet. And the question nobody in the domain industry will answer on record. Are their portfolios larger than Frank Schilling's still operating in complete secrecy? Portfolios you will never see listed, never auctioned, never disclosed. How many words do you own? How many addresses did you walk past, for free, and register nothing? Let me know in the comments what surprised you most. Like and subscribe to Gentle Status. We are tracking the money.